Hey everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. And today I have both an unboxing and a review of the latest BFI 4K release, Seven Samurai. That is what is in this box here that was shipped over from Orbit DVD because this is a Region B release. So let's unbox this, see what you're getting here, and then we're going to talk about my thoughts on this 4K itself. So let's not waste any time at all. Let's dive right into my unboxing and review of Seven Samurai on 4K. Okay, so I have the box cut open here, so we'll stick that to the side and pull this out of here. And always bubble wrapped so nicely from Orbit, so I love that. Let's get this out of the way here. There we are. We will move that to the side as well. And there we are, the BFI release of Seven Samurai. And this thing looks gorgeous just from the outside. This is such a great film. It has been quite a while since I've seen this, but it is nothing short of a masterpiece. The big difference here is this right here. The fact that this release from BFI contains HDR. The release from Criterion on 4K that just happened recently, it does not have HDR. So that's kind of the big difference here. And actually, this has Dolby Vision and HDR10. So that's the big difference. There is no, it's just SDR on the Criterion release. So let's get this opened up here as safely as I can hopefully without damaging anything. There we go. Get that off to the side and pop this guy off of here. And I ripped the sticker. Fortunately, I don't keep those anyway, but all right, let's see. I think this is the only BFI release I have. So pretty special being a first from a boutique label like that. So let's pull that back. Nothing on the back there. I will do my best to keep this on here. Fortunately, it has that sticker on it. You know, I don't know, because, well, I'm going to leave it on there for this video, I guess, but if you take it off, you lose this here, which I hate those, as most people do. But anyway, let's get everything out. Okay, so that's everything. We will leave that off to the side there. And I guess, first things first, let's take a look at the movie itself. So it has a pretty standard black case. Actually, you know what? I guess this isn't a standard 4K case. It is thicker than normal. But there's the front and the back. Now, I will be holding on to, I do own this on Blu-ray from Criterion. Frankly, I have no idea what the difference is in the extras in terms of the special features, but it looks like there is a full special features disc here. I don't know if this is going to be a Region B disc or if this whole thing is region free. I will have to try it out and I will let you know if that works in my player. And then there is the 4K disc, which obviously will be region free. And then we have postcards, which is always cool. See if there's anything on the back. Oh yeah, these are nice. Very cool. Let's move that to the side. Take a closer look here. Yeah, going to be the same on the back for all of these. Yeah, it's been, like I said, quite a while since I've seen this, and so I'm very excited to revisit it. But those look great. So we'll get these stuck back inside here. I don't think there is any reversible cover art at all. Nope, there is not. So it's going to be the same as the box, but let's put that to the side. And then, what do we have here? It looks like a poster. Oh wow, this looks awesome. Am I going to be able to get this all in frame? No, I'm not, but you get a good idea of what's going on here. New 4K restoration. That's really cool, and I'm hoping the back, yeah, exactly. So the back has the cover art, but in full form, which is, if I were to display this, this is the way I would do that. But, I mean, the reality is, as cool as these are, the reality of it is, I almost never do anything with posters, and so I probably won't end up doing anything with this one, which is disappointing, but is what it is. It's just cool to have it. Alright, so here's the booklet, which looks really nice. It is not hardcover, it is a paperback book. And, okay, so there's spoiler warnings. I love that. I don't think I've ever seen a booklet give actual spoiler warnings before. There's the cast list, some screenshots from the movie. I wish there was a table of contents so we could see exactly what's included here, but that's the only thing lacking that we normally get from something like Criterion or even Arrow. But yeah, this thing is awesome. I cannot wait to revisit this. Okay, so here's what I was curious about. Seven Samurai was restored in 4K using the original 35mm fine-grained materials by Toho to mark its 70th anniversary. Original aspect ratio of 1.37 to 1 with the original restored mono audio. So, very cool. That looks awesome. So, that's everything. We get the booklet, which I don't think there was a page count on this, and it looks like it ends with a lot of screenshots. Let's see, 73 pages. So yeah, just over 73 pages. And there's a list of all the special features if you're curious about that. But yeah, lots of essays in there. So that's awesome. This is a very nice release. And then the box here, it just feels, you know, makes it feel more premium, which is always cool to see. So let's get these back inside here and take one more look. So there is the spine, the front, and the back of this release from BFI. So my first impressions of this are very strong. I think they did a great job with the presentation on the packaging. I'll go ahead and admit it right now. When I started this video, my whole idea was just to do an unboxing of this so you could see everything that was included, but I had to check out the picture quality. So after I filmed the overhead, I ran upstairs to test it out, and I ended up watching about a half an hour yesterday at my lunch break. Finished the first half of the movie last night, got to intermission, because yes, there's an intermission in this, and then watched the second half this morning. And so I'm going to give you my full thoughts on this one. So let's start off with my thoughts on the movie itself. So Seven Samurai is from 1954, directed, of course, by Akira Kurosawa. This is a movie that I have seen once prior, and I watched it thanks to the Criterion Collection Blu-ray release, which I will talk about a little bit more as we jump into the actual 4K quality, but that's how I saw this in the past, and I think it was, frankly, may have been the first ever Criterion Collection movie I ever watched, if I'm not mistaken. It was at least one of the first, but anyway, watching it on this time through, I think I appreciated the movie arguably just as much. I'm going to give it the same star rating, but this is just a masterpiece. Akira Kurosawa does an amazing job making 3.5 hours not feel like 3.5 hours, but it's a long one. So if you're going to watch it, just buckle up because you're going to be there for a while. But with Seven Samurai, we are following a group of farmers who are about to have their land taken over by a bunch of bandits. So they go to like the old man in the village, and he says, why don't we hire some samurai to help protect us? Because as a kid, he remembers after his village got attacked, he saw this other village that was not attacked, and the reason they weren't attacked was because they hired samurai. Now, of course, this farming village is extremely poor, so all they can offer a samurai is 3 meals a day of rice. That's it. And, some place to stay, but that's about it. So it's going to be very difficult for them to come up with the titular 7 samurai that are required in order to protect their farm. But that's what a group sets out to do. It sounds so simple, and frankly, the movie kind of is as you make your way through. It's just that. These farmers going out to recruit samurai to come back and protect their farm and ward off these bandits. And that's exactly what they're trying to do throughout this entire movie. So it's a relatively simple setup, which is why you can see that this has been copied so many times over and over again throughout the years. Of course, the most probably well-known of these remakes, if you will, is The Magnificent Seven, which is a movie that I really need to watch yet because I've not seen it. But they have both the original Magnificent Seven and the remake. But yeah, I have both of those in the collection. They will be watched soon. But anyway, what's so great about this is because you get that full 3.5 hours, is the first half of the movie is really just establishing our characters, not just the samurai, but also the farmers. But really, the stars of the show here are 7 samurai. And I grew to love these characters as this movie progressed. Each of them brings something different and unique to the table. They're recruited in different ways as well. And so that was fun watching that go down and just getting to know their personalities a little bit as the film progresses. It really makes the third act in this, or frankly, like the second half of the movie after intermission is when the battle begins. It makes that really pay off because Kurosawa is not afraid to kill anybody at any time in this film. And so there are characters in here that you would expect maybe will survive, but that's just not how things are going to play out in Seven Samurai. And I think that's just awesome how that plays out because it makes those deaths feel something, like you feel something for those characters. At least I did as I was watching through this. Not only the samurai though, the farmers in here, though there are, countless farmers and most of them are kind of nameless and you don't really get to know them, but the group of really 4 or 5 or 6 that you do get to know, I was feeling emotional when things were happening to them as well. And I loved that how long the movie is. It doesn't feel that long, and it really helps to build these relationship with these characters. So that's something I thoroughly enjoy about this movie. One thing I noticed about this was that I was thinking to myself throughout the first half that there was nothing to write home about when it comes to the cinematography of this movie. But that really kind of changed in the second half where you get the battle sequences because not only is the stunt choreography just phenomenal to watch, especially with the horses. I don't know how some of these people didn't get hurt. And frankly, maybe they did. I don't know. But just what they were able to do with the horses is great. And then as the final battle approaches, it's set in a rainstorm. And it is gorgeous. The black and white cinematography just looks so beautiful as the rain is coming down on this final battle between the samurai, the farmers, and the bandits. And it is one of the main reasons, I'm sure, why we get so many movies nowadays where the final battle takes place in rainfall. It influenced so many films after it, and you can see why. It is one that, frankly, I find it a little bit difficult to articulate why I enjoy this so much, but I'll just say I was never bored throughout watching this. Some people might disagree, and I totally respect that. But for me, the moments where I feel like people could say was boring, I found were tense. And there's moments where we have one character watching another battle that's about to happen. And we spend a lot of time just staring at that character's face. But I found it so tense. And that happened multiple times throughout this movie. Because I wanted to know what was going to happen next. Who was going to survive, who wasn't. And that's one of the aspects of this I thoroughly enjoy is how well Kurosawa is able to build tension right from the get-go. And I think it just does wonderfully. So the movie is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. It is a classic for a reason. There's a reason why BFI released it. There's a reason why Criterion Collection released it. This is just a masterpiece in film. And so highly recommend this. If for whatever reason you haven't seen it, I understand it's a large commitment to dedicate 3.5 hours, but if you have to do it over multiple sittings, I get it. Like, that makes sense. And there is a built-in intermission. So it's a great stopping point, which is where I stopped yesterday and then finished this morning. And it just works really well. So highly recommend this, but frankly, you probably didn't need me to tell you that. So I am going to give Seven Samurai from 1954 5 out of 5 stars. This is a bona fide masterpiece. So let's talk about this BFI release itself. So this is a new 4K restoration that was done by Toho. And unlike the Criterion Collection 4K release, which I do not own, admittedly, I totally forgot I ordered this because I ordered it about 2.5 months ago. And then I got the email notification saying that it had shipped. Days before that, I was considering picking up Seven Samurai on 4K from Criterion. I'm really glad I didn't because frankly, there's no reason to own both of them, in my opinion, at least from what I read and what I can tell here, because this transfer on Seven Samurai looks excellent. The difference between this release and the Criterion release, I think I touched on it on my overhead, but the major difference is that this includes both HDR10 and Dolby Vision, where the Criterion release is in SDR. So there is none of that high dynamic range, unfortunately. But I don't necessarily think that you have to run out and import this from overseas just to get the Dolby Vision. And I only say that based on the reviews I'm hearing of the Criterion release and other people talking about a comparison between the two. From what I hear, what I understand, the difference is not that stark. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want just to see this movie on 4K, you can probably just go the Criterion route, and it's going to be cheaper. This cost me around, $40 plus shipping and everything from Orbit, so right around $45, where right now the Seven Samurai on Criterion is down to what, $25 if you're watching this when this video comes out, because of course it's the half off sale. But and now you do get some things here that you don't with Criterion, just in terms of like the other goodies, but something to keep in mind. So anyway, talking about the picture quality here, like I said, I think it just looks excellent. When I started watching it, I thought to myself, wow, this image is crystal clear, and it really is. They did a wonderful job restoring this image. That said, I did go back and put on my Seven Samurai Blu-ray. Same TV, same Blu-ray player, or same 4K player and everything. I just wanted to see how it compared. And it is a noticeable difference from the Blu-ray. Please don't get me wrong though. The Blu-ray still looks good. However, I thought the transfer on this was definitely worth the upgrade for my eyes. I thought it was a noticeable difference, and I thought it looked just excellent on the 4K. It's just the detail on this. Now, if you're someone like me, when you think Dolby Vision, what I typically think about are bright colors. That's what I'm really looking for with Dolby Vision. I want them to pop more. And in this case, that's not what you're getting. We're watching a black and white film here, but the blacks are blacker, right? They're just darker, which makes the shadows pop a little bit better. It makes the whites pop and the grays pop a little bit better. So because the blacks are darker, everything else around it just looks more vibrant. And again, it just looked awesome on this 4K release. So highly recommend checking out this movie on 4K. I cannot tell you what difference there is between the Dolby Vision and the SDR though. So the Criterion and this, because I'm not spending another $25 to own this again. But I have watched some reviews on the Criterion release, and I've read a bunch of different forum posts and things like that talking about it. And everything I've heard is that the difference is not that stark between the Criterion and the BFI. So just something to keep in mind. I would just hate to give the impression that to get this the best way you can, that you have to run out and spend $45 plus when you can get a very comparable picture on 4K for $25 right now. So don't mistake me. I don't even remember why I bought this one night. I just decided, you know what? I need this on 4K, so I pre-ordered it there. But I will say, if you only have the Blu-ray, this is definitely worth an upgrade to 4K, whether you do Criterion or BFI, because it looks so much notably better on the 4K release. So that's my thoughts on the video side here. I'm just going to transition directly into the audio, because one thing that's a little bit different is that the Criterion Blu-ray of this also has the mono Japanese track, but on top of that, there is an optional uncompressed 2.0 surround soundtrack. So that's something that you're not getting with this release here. You are getting a restored mono. I saw it on here somewhere, but it's the restored, where is it here? It's right here. The DTS HD Master Audio 1.0 is what it's called. And I thought it sounded great. I had no issues with it whatsoever. I thought the dialogue was mixed really well with any music, which relatively light on music, but the sound effects in there as well. And so I had no issues with it. I thought it sounded great. That said, I went back and listened to both tracks on the Blu-ray, and I thought these both sounded good as well. But you do get that extra track on the Blu-ray that you're not getting here, so that's just something to keep in mind if you really want it to be in that 2.0. But the mono, that's the original audio. So I think you probably are, most people will find this sufficient for what you get here. But again, the audio side I thought sounded great. No issues at all with with hearing the dialogue or the sound effects. I thought it was all meshed very well together. Let's talk about the special features on this release. Now, obviously, I've not watched through these yet, as I just got this yesterday, but it's important to compare these two, I think, together. Now, I'm assuming that the 4K has very similar special features from what this Blu-ray release is, and that's a good thing, because if you are not region-free, unfortunately, the only special feature you will have access to on this BFI release is an audio commentary from a film critic, which is on the 4K disc. Other than that, if you're not region-free, you're not going to have access to that special features disc, because unfortunately that is in fact region B locked. I double checked it in my region free player, and that was the only player that it would play on in my house. So keep that in mind. But if you are region free and you want to compare the two, there's a lot of crossover. So the big two that they cross over, there is I think it's 49 minutes. Yeah, it's called Akira Kurosawa, It's Wonderful to Create. It's part of the Toho Masterworks series. That is on both releases. along with a 116-minute documentary called My Life in Cinema from 1993. That is also on both of these. Now, there are some differences though, because this BFI release contains 20 minutes of selected commentary from Philip Kent. You do get differences between the two. So frankly, I feel very fortunate that I have both of them at this point, because there are things on the Criterion release that are not on the BFI and vice versa. And with it being such a classic film, I just love that I have access to all of that. There's also a booklet in this release of Seven Samurai. I don't know if that's still included in the 4K release or not, but it's on my Blu-ray. And then, of course, the booklet there on the BFI release, which are going to have different material in them as well. So they're both loaded, whichever way you decide to go, as long as you're region free. So at the end of the day, I feel very fortunate and happy to have both the BFI 4K release with that Dolby Vision and the Blu-ray, the old Blu-ray from Criterion of Seven Samurai, because I think they both add value to my collection. And watching this one on 4K was so impressive. I loved what I was watching yet again, and I thought the picture quality and the audio was just great. So cannot wait to go back into this. I'm super curious to watch some of the bonus features on here, because it's packed, as I mentioned. So you can't go wrong with this release. But if you want to save some money, you probably are fine going with the Criterion 4K, again, based on everything I'm reading about it. So I will link a review to the Criterion 4K in the description box below from Movie Guy 365. He talked about that release, I think it was last week as I'm filming here. So I will link that just so you can hear his thoughts on the 4K transfer from Criterion as well. So great release, very happy with it. I mean, frankly, the only thing that could be better here is if the region B disc was not in fact region locked, but that's not their problem, that's not their fault. It's an overseas release, it is what it is. So frankly, this is about as good as they come. I am going to give Seven Samurai from BFI 5 out of 5 stars. There's really no way to improve this release. They did a fantastic job. All right, so those were my thoughts on Seven Samurai. What a masterpiece. I hope you guys have checked this movie out, or maybe I've convinced you to check it out, because it's awesome and definitely worth your 3.5 hours of time. But I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Do you own Seven Samurai already? If so, in what format? And are you planning to upgrade to 4K? And again, if so, which way are you going to go? Are you going to shell out the extra dough for the BFI release with that really nice hard box on it? Or are you going to stick with the Criterion 4K with SDR? I'd love to hear which way you guys are going. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for making it to the end here. But before I let you go, I will just encourage you all to consume some media today. Thanks again for watching this video, and I will catch you all next time.